the saddest detail about your life that no one knows. Story 1. I cannot look at pictures of my mom. She's been gone for 6 years now. I put the photo albums of her away because it hurts too much to look at it. I usually cave, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I know the day will come when I can look at her pictures and not think of everything that was lost when she died. Story 2. That my last words to my mother before she committed suicide were, "Screw you. I don't want to be your daughter anymore. Get back to me when you sober up." She started drinking again. She was drunk that day. I was tired, had enough of screaming at her to get help because I need her, so I yelled that and ran away to my grandparents' house. I never spoke to her again after that because she committed suicide an hour or so after I left. Edit, thanks for all the replies. I honestly didn't expect this to blow up overnight. I think that I managed to reply to most of the people. I will reply to the rest later since I have to go to work soon. But if I didn't get to you, thank you so much for your kind answers and words. They really did make me feel better. Also, thanks to whoever gave me silver. You rock, and you are amazing. 3. Thanks for gold as well. You people are amazing. 3. Story 3. I forget to eat because we can't really afford for both of us to be consistently fed. My partner's gotten on me about it lately. She worries, so I lie a lot. She needs it more than I do, though. Story 4. I feel like I'm never going to meet someone who wants to spend the rest of their life with me. And they'll end up lonely and alone. Dating scares me so much, and I'm tired of ending up heartbroken at the end of it. Story 5. I'm in a place where I interact with a lot of people, and many of them look up to me. But deep inside, I feel like I almost have no life. I feel so lonely, lost, and empty. But I have to keep up appearances for the sake of the many that would certainly be crushed if I gave up on myself. Story 6. Although I seem happy and talkative, when I'm alone and isolated, I don't really smile. I get nervous about literally anything. I feel useless, start dwelling on less positive aspects of myself, and basically just cry. 247. I feel like I lead 2 rather different lives. Edit, thank you so much for the gold award, Reddit coins, and karma. IRL, I don't really have much people to talk to because although I have friends, usually people are like, "OMG, stop, you are literally the most energetic person I know. Stop crying, you literally have no reason. Stop and just smile, we'll get better," or aren't sure how to help. I felt pretty alone, I guess, but with all of your support, I feel a little bit more happy and kind of relieved I can relate to some people. Thank you for your support. It's only been my 2nd day actively posting on Reddit, but I'm really enjoying my experience so far. Thank you very much, our AskReddit. Story 7. I have no friends, and that I'm depressed from being bullied at my old school. Also, the bullies weren't really punished, and I was assaulted while I was there and harassed, both physically and verbally. Edit, THX for the support. It ripped my inbox. Also, again, thanks for the support, guys. I still haven't gotten past what happened to me, but knowing that people actually care and sympathize with me is a huge comfort. Edit 3. Thank for the gold. Story 8. I don't know how to be vulnerable with people or be truthful with people because I've never trusted anyone enough to let them know the real me. I've never had a best friend or a lover or a family member that really knew me from ear to ear. This thought runs through my head a lot. If I die tomorrow, no one would know my story. I'm only 19, but I've been staying up lately and writing a will. It's not that I plan to die soon. It's just that no one does plan a thing like that. And the only thing I trust with my real story is a piece of paper that hopefully someday someone might read. Story 9. I have to hold back tears when people touch me. I'm really starved for affection and physical contact. My friend leaned on my back and put her head on top of mine at an assembly, and I cried when I got home. Edit, just got back from an assembly where I sat next to my closest friend and her boyfriend, and I left to go to the bathroom, when in reality I left so I could take a walk and cry a little. Edit 2. Let's all cry together, TBH, we need it. Story 10. The last thing I said to my sister before she shot herself was, "You'll get over it." I've only shared that incredibly personal detail with a handful of people, and now I guess I'm sharing it with the whole internet. Story 11. I'm not made to be around other people. I struggle to maintain a relationship and have always struggled with friendships. I'm happier alone than I'm around other people. But when I'm alone for long periods of time, I long for human contact, which turns into resentment of the majority of other people. I feel like Pigeon Man from Hey Arnold. Story 12. I go out with friends, and I do a lot of things I enjoy, but I always have this feeling of loneliness that won't seem to go away no matter how many people I'm around. Story 13. I have never had a girlfriend, and I'm approaching my late 20s. I'm in a cohort at school, and we all go out. People usually invite their boyfriend, girlfriends, and it always gets brought up at the table if I'm seeing anyone or not. Really awkward for me. And I use focusing strictly on school as an excuse. I don't know, it's just something I'm really embarrassed about and a sad detail in my life. I excel in every other category straight. A student, good job, good network of friends, fit, but I'd rather have my bank balance exposed and have my friends find out I've never been in a relationship. I just don't want them to think it's weird or look at me differently since it's so common easy for others. Actually, most of them come to me for relationship advice, which is even more weird. I find it easy to talk to girls and making them laugh, but I haven't been able to get someone to feel the same way for me as I do for her. Edit spelling. Story 14, I'm clean, but I want to use again so bad. My life feels empty without it. I miss the ritual of it the most. The bus ride that was exciting. Pickup, I felt like a kid on Christmas who just got everything he ever wanted and realized there were still 20 more presents to open. And then the bus ride home was just peaceful. Like, I know how bad my life up and am so much healthier and technically happier now, but still there's definitely times where I'm just sitting around missing the excitement. Story 15, everyone thinks I'm happy and optimistic. They don't know I've been abused and mistreated all my life and have had 2 failed suicide attempts and at least a few failed overdoses. Story 16, abused without any emotional nurturing from any family members, expected to succeed in life without being loved. After all this abuse, the amount of anxiety I really have, people think I'm so calm and collected, but I'm actually a bunch of jumbled nerves inside. I'm very mellow on the outside, but extremely angry on the inside. Sometimes it's just a mild frustration, but if someone pisses me off, I want nothing more than to beat there and make their life a living. I don't give myself time to cool off, so I don't do or say anything stupid, but I really do feel a lot of anger, mainly because I've been too nice and caring most of my life, and now I'm kind of done with it all. I feel like such a failure. I've given up so much and given so much of myself, so sometimes I feel like I can't give anymore. I'm tired of people and trying to make everyone happy. Story 17, no one knows just how much I miss my main schizophrenic voice. She's my alien older sister, April, and it's been 7 years since I heard her voice. I think of her every day. I cannot wait to go home and see her again someday. Story 18, ever since my back injury, I've been miserable. I used to love working out and being fit. Ever since middle school, I was hooked on going to the gym and sports conditioning despite not liking actual sports. I've managed to be able to walk on my own again, and people who know what I went through love telling me how great I look and how proud they are of what I've done. It makes me die inside every time I hear it. My mass and strength have diminished so much, but I still look in very good shape, so I've faced tons of scrutiny in applying for unskilled labor for being unable to be on my feet all day long or being able to pick up heavy loads. I've been working at a gas station that was willing to accommodate my limitations and give me much-needed health insurance and full-time hours. But I miss refinishing hardwood floors and physical labor because of the satisfaction it gave me, in addition to the better pay. My workouts are very minimal by necessity, and I do all I can to maintain the physique I have left, but I can feel my body withering away 3 years back on my own 2 feet, and I feel like a shell of the man I strive to become. It hurts me so much inside when my family and loved ones tell me how great I look. They mean well, and they're trying to be encouraging, but the reality is it'll never get back to my prime, and feeling myself slowly deteriorate makes me feel like I'm 87 after only 27 years of life. Story 19, for years in school, basically no one would talk to me unless they were making fun of me. I had one decent friend, which was mostly because, well, he wasn't very smart, and I mean, like, clinically, he wasn't smart for years. That was it. I lived in the middle of nowhere, so I had my family, and I had my nice, kind of rather slow sort of friend, and I had a school full of people making fun of me and occasionally attempting to beat the snot out of me, and that was it. And I say this not for any kind of sympathy whatsoever, but to tell you how the story turned out. I'm very successful. I have a wife whom I adore and who appears to be able to stand the sight of me for these last 20 years. I have enough friends that my primary problem is that I don't have enough time to spend with them. I'm respected in my job, and I can go to most major cities in the country and have dinner with people who want to see and talk to me, and critically, there's nothing special about me. There is no reason that this can't be the ending for the story of anyone else who has had it hard. Things can be great, or at least okay for you. You can make it that way. It's not easy. It takes struggle and time and patience and persistence, but life is long, way too long to live it being miserable. Take heart. Not that it gets better, but that you can make it better. Story 20, I sometimes feel very alone and like I have nobody I can really talk to or who really gets me, so cliché. Sometimes I lock myself in the bathroom and cry my face off. I has no idea. I'm almost 30, am extremely lonely, and firmly believe that if I don't reach out to people first, they'll just forget about me. I'm just a tiny sitting there, chirping from time to time to remind them I'm unfortunately still here. Story 21-1. I genuinely feel like I'm always the last one people think of. I am nobody's favorite. It hurts too. I am so lonely sometimes to the point that my heart and chest have physically hurt during my saddest of times, where I just hug my doga pillow and cry on my bed until I pass out. I do have friends. I have loved ones. But sometimes I just really don't think anyone will ever love me as much as I love them. Not ever, and try not to tear up as I write this. Story 22. I was assaulted when I was 10, but I never cried for help because my little brother was asleep in the room and I didn't want him to wake up. I was too young to understand that it wasn't my fault. My brother still doesn't know, and I never plan to speak about it. He doesn't need to know. Story 23. How suicidal I am. The first time I tried to end my life was when I was 12 and 21 now, and even during the better stages of my life where I've sorted my out and gotten on track to being somewhat successful, I still make attempts to end my life. I guess that's the way it'll go at some point. Story 24. On the outside, I'm pretty and outgoing, but I hate people, truly despise everyone on the planet. I don't have friends and can't maintain relationships. Not because I'm unable, but because I just don't care enough. I'm a narcissist who hates myself. Isn't that a kick in the... Story 25. When I was 14, I went into my parents' closet, grabbed my dad's shotgun out of the safe, loaded it, and put the muzzle underneath my chin. After sitting there with what seemed like forever, I couldn't bring myself to it, and put the gun down, except that's the story I told. I actually pulled the trigger. The gun misfired. I am now 22, about to graduate with a degree in computer science in May, starting a job June, and getting married to my best friend in November. I guess it wasn't my time to go. Story 26. I'm a failure. I can't seem to stick with or accomplish anything. I've tried so many hobbies, but I can't get past being slightly above average at it, and I lose interest. I struggle with chronic fatigue, brain fog, headaches, and body soreness, which makes college really tough for me, no matter how hard I try to do good. It's like my brain just shuts off, and I'm incapable of learning and retaining the material. I don't know what makes me happy or what I want to do with my life. Anything I try just ends up in failure. Story 27. I secretly think something is wrong with my brain, not really medically or any specific disease. I just think it doesn't work like a normal brain should. One example is my memory. I joke about it, but I despise my short memory. It desensitizes me to experiences because it sort of causes me to both try to wring everything I can out of special events and ignore their significance because I will forget them soon after. It's a real cognitive dissonance I can't seem to resolve. Story 28. I am in love with someone that couldn't possibly love me the same way. We flirt and share secrets and send each other our misuse and even text goodnight every night. But she really loves her girlfriend and talks about them getting married. She's my best friend and I love her, but she's not straight and am not a woman. Lives is sometimes. Story 29. My family is a mental illness magnet. We've got murderers, arsons, rapists, a serial killer, multiple institutionalizations, alcoholics, drug addicts, bipolar, schizophrenia, and a high rate of Alzheimer's. We also have some weird curse where you're highly likely to die before 35, as in 1 in 4 chance in the modern era, but if you make it past it, you are more likely to die in your late 80s to 100s than before it. We have only 5 non-self-inflicted deaths or deaths by violence between the ages of 40 and 80 for the past 250 years on my dad's side, and 3 of them were liver failure, and 1 was mesothelioma in a foundry worker. The other was just regular old luck of the draw cancer. Between 40 to 80, you beat cancer, survive car crashes, survive beatings, survive jumping off a bridge, survive a load of rat poison, etc. Just a weird coincidence thing that the old-timers think is some weird curse. Story 30. To everyone in here dealing with hopelessness, loneliness, depression, or any other mental problems, hi. I love you. You're not alone. Sounds stupid, I know, but you really can feel better. Modern medicine is of a thing. I've been susceptible to depression my whole life. My mother has too. My brother has a handful of anxiety and depressive disorders. My wife is bipolar LL. I get it. In my experience, those willing to seek help and fight are 100 better off. Those I know who never spoke up or never got help are dead. Seriously, the stubborn ones always die. Get out of your heads, guys. It's a lot nicer out here, I promise. Story 31. While I'm gay in a country that kicks out gays to another countries, or jail you for a long time, barely got any friends, and the people I love loves to mention how much they hate gays and how much they are disgusting and they are not supposed to exist, etc. Can't make any friend 3 mental breakdowns in the last 2 months, not the favorite child, and realize that the guy I dated was cheating on me constantly and was not into me and that I was just something to have with when he's in the area, and for some fucking reason no one notices this. And I'm all alone, and while I hate my life, another fucking reason is that I can still force a good fake smile, a fake laugh, faking that I'm having a good life. And no, one can see through I wish. What am I that good at? Faking, or they just don't care? Story 32. I can barely show emotion. Give me a horror book to read. Nothing. Have me listen to a sad song. Nothing. Next door neighbor dies to an illness. Nothing. I don't know what's wrong with me. When I need to feel something, I feel nothing at all. I can barely cry anymore. My laughter dies out after just a minute at most. If you can make me happy and keep me that way, Then I'm going to want to hang around you more often. I'm so horribly self-deprecating that half of my thoughts belong on her Suicide Debbie words. I can still be happy and sad and nervous, all that, but if I cry or smile or visibly worry, then that means whatever was really got to me. I do so many extracurriculars that the stress is going to catch up to me and hit me hard. I can barely explain this, so I hope I got it out right. So you can understand. Edit, thanks for the help. Guys, I'm glad that you all understand what I mean and are trying to help. Depression was never something I thought about, but now it's actually a possibility. Story 33. I pushed away the friends that cared about me to the point of no return. I haven't had a conversation with a non-family member or coworker in quite some time. I look back to who I used to be and feel such deep envy and disappointment in my current self. Story 34. I wrote a novel-length Animorphs fanfiction that I'm super proud of, and that got an incredibly enthusiastic reaction for diehard fans. They are hard to please. It's exceeded all my wildest expectations as an experience. It also got me out of a deep funk and helped me to build some really powerful writing habits. No one has any idea. I wanted to tell someone, but I don't know how anyone could take me seriously. Everyone I know would make so much fun of me. So, I've written this whole book in total secret. I was never in it to make money or anything. I just realized that if I didn't sit down and write it in 6 months, I still wouldn't have written anything. So I wrote it, and I had a blast. Hey, raise the link if any of y'all are interested. I've been dropping it here and there solely because, well, I just want someone to know that I did something. Story 35. I believe that my younger sister and I are the only thing keeping my parents together other than money. They sleep in separate rooms, don't celebrate their anniversary, and they don't really talk. I'm in right grade while my sister is in 6th. And my dad has already had a previous divorce, but their children were already legal adults. There isn't really a way to help, but I have just come to accept it if it does happen. Story 36. 2 years ago, I got in trouble with the law. Search warrant, confiscation, the works, but no arrest and no charges, just nothing. For 2 years, I've been waiting, terrified for anything to happen. I'm in a weird tension between trying to keep my life on a good path and being afraid to invest in putting myself back together, because it could all come apart with a knock on the door or a letter in the mail. It's had me nearly suicidal, but also motivated to do better and deserve the reprieve I'm living in. Honestly, I'm a good man now, and I'm proud of who I've become, but I'm still devastated with fear. Story 37. I haven't been happy in almost a year and a half. I put on an act and support everybody however I can. In reality, I honestly believe it's taking a heavy toll on me, mentally and physically. Story 38. How hung over some past experiences I still am. I am generally really happy and optimistic, and I like to think that I give off a nice vibe to surrounding people. But there are moments when these things just hit really hard. Story 39. After my fractured foot healed, I attempted to try and break it again. Kids in my class were finally being nice to me when I had a cast on, but that changed when the cast came off. I just wanted people to be nice to me. Story 40. In non-contact with my toxic mother. To try to get me to come home, she told me that my dog was sick and had to be put down. I came. He ended up being fine. She did the same thing 2 more times. Only I refused to come visit. She put both of my childhood dog down. Note the dogs were both old, around 13 or 14, so their time was coming. But I have no doubt she put them down earlier than they needed to be to try to get me to talk to her. Story 41. I have a daughter that I've never met and probably never will meet. I moved cities after me, and my ex broke up, and she never told me she was pregnant, even though we stayed friends for about 6 months after we had broken things off. I only ever found out about it like 3 years after the fact, because one of her friends that I still talk to mentioned that my ex had just gotten married to a single father, and she made a remark about our daughter having a big sister now. Apparently, the friend didn't know that I wasn't aware of having a daughter, because my ex told her that we decided it was best for her to raise the child alone with her family, since I was on the other side of the country. She never once mentioned this to me or asked me for anything, and she hasn't responded to me reaching out at all for the past few years. So now there isn't much I can do without making their world worse. So I've just resigned myself to knowing I have a daughter who may or may not try to find me in 10 or so years. Story 42. I know this probably won't be seen, but I still feel like I should at least get this off of my chest. Around 5 years ago, I had a small cat, and he pounced at me when I was sitting on a stool. I fell off, and the stool landed on him. I had to watch him slowly die as a 10-year-old. And since then, I have always been afraid of accidentally doing anything wrong around animals, to the point where I get nervous when I see one. Maybe saying something about it will help me move on, but I'm kind of afraid of that too. Story 43. I constantly have conversations with myself in my head. It has become involuntary at this point. Worst part is that it actually feels like I have company when I do it. Story 44. That no matter how many times I smile, when I laugh, when I make people laugh, I will always be alone no matter what I do. Every person that I love have either left or died. It's almost like a curse. It always happens. My personality isn't what you think it is. Even I don't know my true personality. I'm generous and nice to people because I want and need them to be happy so that I can feel happy. I have a horrible stutter, but I don't stutter when I'm alone. Story 45, I take 3 different medications just to be functional, and I still just want to give up. No one at work has any clue since I try to be as normal as possible, and even the people I'm close to are not aware of how often I just feel too tired to care. Story 46, I've had 8 miscarriages. With the last few, I just expected it once I had the positive pregnancy test. I feel so emotionally numb to it all now. I have 1 healthy child, thankfully. Story 47, well, most people don't know, but I'm dealing with my parents' divorce right now. Some emotional support from you guys right now would be helpful. Edit, I forgot to mention, M11. Story 48, my fiance went home to her coots to see her parents. What I didn't know at the time was that she was pregnant with triplets and was going home to get it double-checked, and then come back to Ottawa to let me know she was hit by a drunk driver and killed on impact while going back to her parents' place one night. I didn't know she was pregnant until her brother called me on Skype about a week later and let me know the whole thing. To say the least, I was not okay. Story 49, I just turned 30, and I got basically no family left. Mother committed suicide at 22, father died of cancer at 26, younger brother committed suicide at 29, he was 23. I've still got my maternal grandma, though. Story 50, I wrote more than a couple answers here and deleted them all, and I think that kind of speaks for itself that I can't even share the stories anonymously. Story 51, I attempted suicide in college by taking every pill that I had. I went to sleep for a bit, but woke up and went for ice cream with a friend. I left and threw up the pills on the way home. I slept for 3 days after this. No one checked on me, and I never told anyone. Story 52, the last time I saw my dad, he warned me not to go visit my troubled cousin. I did anyway, and the cousin raped me. I was 14 and a virgin. I was too traumatized after the rape to visit my dad or that side of my family. My dad didn't know about the rape. BC, my grandparents feared he'd murder my cousin. My dad went out drinking with a buddy a year after the rape. The buddy had screwed him over on a roofing job and wanted to make it up to him. My stepmom, 8 months pregnant, stayed home with my little brother and sister. The neighbor saw a horrific crash outside her window. Her dad rushed over to get my dad to go help with the crash. The crash that killed my dad instantly. He never knew why I didn't visit for Christmas, spring break, or summer like I had every year. That was 23 years ago, and I'm still tearing up. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you, Dad. I'm sorry it cost us time we would have spent together. I'm sorry you didn't know that I wanted to see you. I want to tell you what happened. I wasn't too busy. I'm so sorry. He died in October and already had my Christmas present ordered. I was 15 when he died, and he already had an old car he was working on for me. My grandpa finished it for him. Tears. I'm a functioning alcoholic. Story 53, I look forward to death. I put on a happy smile at work, even though I'm miserable and caught up in this never-ending rat race. I wouldn't say I'm suicidal, but just tired of the world and the bullshit. I want to go somewhere far away where I can just create and live free. Story 54, I sometimes charge my phone up to 15 to 20 and get excited when I get the low battery notification, and not particularly lonely, but sometimes I just go down that road. Story 55, my marriage is failing. We have 2 beautiful, amazing kids. He is addicted to drugs, not anything awful, just pot and Suboxone. But it is enough that he spends probably $500 every month on it. I have begged, pleaded, cried, and yelled to get him to stop. I told him to do it for our kids. I don't know what else to do. He's a good man aside from all of this, but I don't want to risk losing my kids, and I just generally want a better life for them. It is a hard decision, and I struggle with it daily. It weighs on me constantly. Story 56, most of my friends don't know this. Several years ago, we basically hired a live-in carer to look after my grandparent, who had dementia. They seemed like a really nice person, but it turned out they were a cold, heartless, evil, lying gold digger. I don't resent them, really, for the money side of things, although that side of it is a bit of a bummer. I resent them mostly for taking my grandparent away from us, not allowing any of us to see them. The grandparent was besotted and not really able to think things through like they had done when they were, well, better. They threw away all of their possessions, including precious memories that we can never get back replicate, without giving any of us or anyone else a chance to take such possessions away and keep them, well, not in a landfill. There were a few other things that happened because of this care more like not carer, all of which were monstrous, devastating, and incredibly heart-wrenching. Big lessons I've learned. Always be at least a little on your guard with people. Many are extremely good at lying. Do your best not to hire live-in carers for your elderly relatives. They may be plotting similar schemes, or if you do, make sure they're opposite gender different enough in the type of the elderly relative. So said elderly relative is unlikely to fall in love with them and be heavily influenced by them. Also, I'm aware that there are laws in the states that make it a lot easier to prevent carers from getting away with this type of behavior. Unfortunately, my family were not in such a lucky position. Edit grammar. Story 57. I'm still in love with my ex-boyfriend. I wanted to marry him and have a life with him, and he wanted the same with me. Unfortunately, I ended up going through the worst depression I've ever had in my life, and I pushed him away because I couldn't bear to put him through any more pain. I didn't want anyone to help me get through it, because depression has always been my own burden to bear. I love him with all my heart, and he hates me and no longer speaks to me. I've heard he loves someone else now and wants to marry her. All I can think is that it should be me instead, but I had to be crazy and lost him because of what I had to go through. It's devastating and I cry about it all the time. Story 58. My direct family knows, but no one else does. My dad killed himself a week before my second semester of college. He framed my mom for it. She was taken in and questioned, but released for a variety of reasons, least of which being I was in the house when it happened and could support her story. Unfortunately, he convinced my oldest sister that my mother was trying to kill him, and she still believes it to this day. My mother has since passed, as well heart stuff, and never was able to make peace with my sister. My sister was at that time my very best friend, but we haven't spoken since the week after it happened. I think about her from time to time, but I'm just so angry with she and my dad that I don't think he'll ever have closure. Story 59. I 33 am, have a son who is 212, and he's ridiculously adorable. His grandpa John died of an overdose 12 years ago, and I get really sad that he'll never get to sit in his lap and read a light in the attic. It is one of the most endearing things I can picture, and subsequently the most devastatingly sad. Story 60. I've had like 6 people close to me die. Even now, I don't consider my problems even comparable to the likes of others, so I don't mention it. There's also a lot more, but even all of the other still don't feel like my problems are as bad as others. Could someone explain why people tell each other their problems? Because I've started to wonder why. It doesn't appeal to me, wouldn't want to come across as self-absorbed. Story 61. This pales in comparison to everything else, but it's kind of heartbreaking to me. I don't believe in my spirituality anymore. I used to be so connected to the earth and everything around me. Due to issues within the spiritual community and the complete disregard for science, I see that's caused a lot of people I really care about serious harm and health issues. I just can't bring myself to believe in it anymore. And for me, that's crushing because my spirituality is what got me through the darkest times of my life. It's weird to be tired of it all. Story 62. When I was in a peak depression phase at 14, I slept for 3 days straight. Nobody noticed. Nobody texted me. My mother didn't even notice. I had set a date to kill myself during those 3 days and slept through it. Nobody would have noticed that I was dead. Story 63. I'm working toward a degree and headed in a direction in life that I'm on. Just because I don't know what else I should be doing, I'm really just living the life I know I should be living, but I don't really want anything I'm heading towards. Story 64. I feel extremely lonely sometimes, like I have friends, but no really close ones that I feel I can confide in. I have no one I can just say, hey, want to come over and watch a movie too? I really wish I did. Story 65. My dad was murdered a year ago in a robbery gone wrong 3 days before my high school graduation, and I had to see him get carried out in a body bag. Story 66. Most of my friends and several family members use my marriage as a model marriage in conversation. They're as cute as Skyscoff 420 and Esquife. Well, the relationship didn't last. I envy SK420 and his wife. They seem like they have things figured out. The truth is that I'm depressed constantly because over the last 2 years I've developed feelings for someone I work with. It saddens me so much. I love my wife and would never betray her trust. Also, my coworker is happily married herself and shows absolutely no indication she feels anything like this toward me. Haha. There's just so much we have in common. Similar weird sense of humor. She's physically my type. No underlying marriage issues. Needs always readily fulfilled. We're a great couple. It's just that my brain apparently decided my life was too good and that we needed to things up somehow. Either my coworker or I may be transferred, changing job titles soon. And while I value her friendship and respect her work in my office, it might be better to appreciate that friendship from a distance, to just avoid experiencing those feelings entirely. I think the thing I'm most afraid of is my wife finding out. She's so sweet and has done nothing but work hard for us. And she's the kindest and most loving person I've ever known. I don't want to hurt her or for her to think I'm emotionally cheating. I love her dearly, and obviously my love for her goes deeper than some work crush. Somebody pass me the vodka.